So it pulls a list of all the ATMs within 50 miles from your current location, and then parses it down to the nearest one, which 50 miles is more or less, it'll catch at least one. That can be configurable if it really needs to be. I just set it constant for this. But then it parses it down to one, and from there it gets that thing's location, or that ATM's location, and throws it into Google Location Services, and gives you a bearing between the two, between the first and the second. And then from that, it's distance.
We take magnetic north. This has a built-in compass, and then we subtract the bearing, and we can get the actual direction that we need to go in order to reach the ATM. And then this is an actual object we draw inside of the watch. That's probably the only calculation that actually goes on inside the watch, so it saves a lot of battery on the watch. This could probably, what do they say, these last 7 days or something?
Yeah, those will last 7 days.
On one charge.
Whereas mine, which, I mean, there's all kinds of nice fancy colors and all, which I really like. That's the reason I like it. It lasts a day at most.
But, yeah. It's an actual, it actually, like, completely, it redraws the object every...
Which right now, I set it to, like, hypersensitive mode, so it redraws, like, constantly.
Yeah.
Because I wanted it to be able to show what it was doing like that.
Nice.
But usually it'd be set at something more like if there's a change of 5 degrees of word. 5 degrees of something. Bearing.
Yeah.
I know you're low on it.
It would only...
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It would redraw only every 5 degrees.
So tell me about your development process. What tools did you use? How did you work together?
So we sort of like divided and conquered.
Okay.
We had him working on like, okay, how do we draw things on the watch? How do we like make the watch
The actual...
communicate with the phone? We had
That was
him,
the hard part.
yeah, we had him doing like, okay, here's the phone. Like, what does the phone need to do to send information to the watch?
I wrote basically all of the Android stuff that needed. And then he dealt with the Pebble stuff, and they dealt with all of like the parsing of the JSON.
Yeah, so our stuff was like, how do we contact the server and find the nearest ATM?
Got it.
You know, and like, yeah, so like he and I were working on like pretty much like kind of like the Java equivalent of Googling it. It's like, you know, like our program goes in and finds which ATM is closest and brings that back, and then puts that the coordinates of that ATM into his program, which runs all the calculations, and all the calculations go into his watch.
And then he also, at least at first, we were using Jenkins as a build server, which then we stopped kind of using Git, which was bad. Because we got like separated in what we were doing, because he was working on Pebble, I was working on Android, they were working on every other mini piece that we needed.
Yeah, so helpful with Arrow. Arrow would have not been possible.
Oh man.
And have you done this hackathon before?
No, we're freshmen.
We're all freshmen. Yeah. I've actually...
Computer science majors at VCU.
Yep. I've never actually programmed in C before or seen a Pebble before
He started programming at probably midnight last night, and that was the first time he'd ever seen, or well, probably touched C. And
It's the first time I've ever heard
played
of
with
that,
a
honestly.
Pebble or
I
that.
had no clue what it was. I actually had it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had ideas. We were gonna set, read how far you are.
We had a lot more ideas, but
estimated time at the bottom, but time constraints, took their toll.
So what would you do if you had another 24 hours?
Okay, I like this. So what I would do is basically, so we already have the data for distance and estimated time of arrival, so you fix up the layout there because it's off a little bit. Another thing was, since for Pebble you have these extra card things, these things push to other cards, so there would be another card for like directions to it, which that would pull it from Google's APIs. And then for Android Wear, I would create another module for Android Wear.
We began developing the same thing on Android Wear, but due to time we had to cut that and just focus on the Pebble.
Yeah. And then, but for Android Wear, because, well, you can issue it voice commands, and you can register your own custom voice commands. I'm almost positive of that. I've never done it.
Yeah, Google
But, yeah. But you can take them, and like I could say, point me in the direction of this, and Google would go up and pull the location of this, and throw it into your code and spit out facts. And then it points you in the direction of anything.
What would you do differently if you had to relive the last 24 hours?
Well,
Anything
there was
sleep?
Yes, sleep.
Yeah, because we stayed up all night working, but
Which
there
wasn't
was
bad.
maybe like a 4 or 5 hour period where there really wasn't much working going on.
Okay, yeah.
Him.
And
He
we-
worked the entire
Oh,
time.
yeah, he worked the entire
I don't know how he did it.
But we ended up just like watching YouTube
had
videos and
to
stuff, and like
They were both. You were both learning how pebble things, and also.
yeah. But for the
yeah.
most, it probably would have been smarter to like go to sleep and then be more edited because there was a lot of
That's what
stuff where
those guys
like
did. Those guys all went home for the night.
yeah.
And they came back this morning and finished.
Whereas our idea was more time working, but it really wasn't efficient work time
Yeah.
because we were tired.
You find that the drop off between productivity and what you actually,
Yeah.
it drops quick.
It drops really quickly.
So I mean, like there was times where like if
Like
we weren't
originally-
tired,
yeah.
this code would make perfect sense. But we're so tired, we're
staring at it for like 40 minutes going,
what is
did I
this?
just do?
Yeah,
And why did I do that?
right. Take us
So
like
is-
30
just
minutes to
be
figure out
clear,
something.
is there not a database? Are you pulling the information
Yes,
from an API?
Yeah,
it's
the
Capital One's
One's
Nessie API. Which
Okay, got
their
it.
Nessie API is just a hackathon API.
Yeah.
It's actually got real data in there, but it's not a full set of data. So that is probably pointing, if I remember correctly, to an ATM in Fredericksburg.
Oh, okay.
Because
Oh, yeah, I think someone mentioned that it's only DC and Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
one of the Capital One guys was telling us that they were pretty sure it was developed in McLean.
Okay.
So it's centered around there,
Centered
more or
around.
less.
Okay. Well, good work, guys. Great work.
Thank you.
See you again next year.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Oh yeah, we'll be back.